What's going on, everybody? Today, what I want to do is talk about a very, very important topic. And this topic is the idea of feeling better versus getting better. And the main reason why I want to make this video is to answer a couple of questions from people in my course that have actually DM'd me. There's a couple of people right now in my anxiety release breakthrough system course, and they asked me some pretty cool questions. And one of the questions is, why am I actually feeling, because the course is about anxiety, feeling my anxiety more? And the answer is very, very simple. Why are you feeling your anxiety more, which appears like you're getting worse? And the answer is because you're actually getting better. Now, for a lot of people, it might be very, very confusing. What do you mean you're actually getting better? Oftentimes, we often think that when we start to feel better, that if we feel better, we're actually getting better. And I could tell you from experience, that's not often the case, because I'll give you an example right now. Let's say you have been a smoker for 30 plus years, and you make a decision to quit smoking. And once you make that decision, you decide you're not gonna smoke. You take all of your cigarettes, you throw them out, and day one, something is gonna begin to happen. You're gonna start to feel agitated. Your body is going to crave a cigarette. And for the most part, you're gonna feel like shit. You're gonna feel really, really bad. You push it past the first day. When day two comes, you're probably gonna feel awful. You're gonna feel horrible. And my question to you during that process, my question to you as the audience, if you was to give the smoker this piece of advice, the person who's quitting, and they come to you and they say, I feel horrible, I'm not getting any better, how would you respond? You would probably tell them that this is what's supposed to happen. You're purging out the addiction. You're purging out the energy. The energy is starting to come up, and we have a term for this. It's called withdrawal symptoms. You're having withdrawal symptoms, which is why you're feeling like crap. Now, if the smoker wanted to get better or feel better in that moment, what's the most obvious thing for them to do? Is for them to go and grab a cigarette. Because the minute they decide to smoke and they start to feel it, and they're like, oh my God, I feel better. Yes, they feel better. But does that mean they're actually getting better? Because the goal was for them to stop smoking. So we understand this metaphorically. We understand this analogy. When you make a decision to quit a drug, you're going to have withdrawal symptoms. The same thing with your emotions, with the energy, with anxiety. This is something that we're so used to whenever we feel anxious or feel any type of emotional trauma, stuck energy come up. What we often try to do is do things to go and make ourselves feel better. But the saying that I have is feeling better doesn't always mean you're getting better. So in the case with the two people that asked me some questions, and they were like they were like, wow, this is pretty cool. Like they start to understand it. They asked me the question, and I said, look, you're going through a purging process. The goal is for you to release your anxiety. The course is called the Anxiety Release Breakthrough System. You're basically trying to release that stuck energy, because the reason why you're chronically anxious all the time is because your nervous system is so used to being stuck in fight or flight. And what you tend to do, meaning you, the consciousness, the observer behind it, every time you start to experience any kind of anxiety, either you try to fight with it or you try to run away from it. You try to go do something to make yourself feel better. And oftentimes what we try to do when we're anxious is we try to use our thoughts, we try to rationalize, we try to play tricks, we try to distract ourselves. The easiest way to feel better in the moment is like put on some music, do a breathing exercise, do a mantra, or even do one of my stretches so you can feel better. But just because you're feeling better doesn't mean you're getting better. So in the case of trapped emotions, trauma, what you have to learn to do is just like the smoker, is when this energy comes up, when the withdrawal symptoms come up, you have to do a good job of really just learning to relax and experience the energy fully. Now, when I say relax, this is where people often get confused. When I say relax, I don't mean the emotion or the trapped energy is going to relax. When you actually start, because my whole program is about learning how to relax behind the energy. And when you relax behind the energy, you're giving it space for it to come up fully, which means it's going to get worse because you have a lot of stuff trapped inside your nervous system that you've resisted in the past. So of course it's going to feel like you're getting worse. But are you? And just like with the smoker, if the smoker goes 3 or 4 days without smoking, sure, they might feel like crap. But are they getting better? And the answer is yes. They're getting better. That's the whole process. You know, I have a saying that pain is the pathway to freedom. You have to allow yourself to experience the pain that you resisted fully. But people don't want to do this. And I understand it because it hurts. If you look at, you know, I like reading, I haven't read the Gospels in a really long time, but I believe it was the book of Matthew. When Jesus was I believe he was in the garden, and he knew, he was like praying, and he saw that he was about to get crucified. He saw the suffering he was about to go through. And I don't remember the exact quote he said to God. He said to God, "Can I pass?" And then as soon as he said that, "Can I pass?" meaning can I bypass that pain that I'm about to go through? As soon as he said that, he realized he made a mistake and he took it back. He said, "Never mind, I apologize." I think he said, it's not my will, it's thy will, meaning it's God's will. If I have to go through the suffering to ascend to a higher level of consciousness, I'm willing to go through it. So even Jesus in the book of Matthew, there was a part of him that wanted to bypass the pain, to transcend. He literally didn't want to go through the pain, but he caught himself right away. So in the case with the 2 people that bought my course, it's the same process. You can't bypass the pain. You can relax with the pain. And again, just because you relax with the pain doesn't mean it's going to feel better immediately. It might actually get worse, but you, the consciousness, the observer, what I call the director, the witness, you are the one that's experiencing the pain. You aren't the pain. So, I explained this to these 2 people, and they start to get it. But of course, they still kind of want to do things like, oh, well, while the pain is coming up, should I do the 4-7-8 breathing technique, or should I do a technique to activate my vagus nerve? And my answer to them is, if the pain is overwhelming, if it's that overwhelming, of course, do something to make yourself feel better. But just realize that just because you're feeling better doesn't mean you're getting better. You know, I have a saying that what bothers you is what heals you. What bothers you is what actually heals you. And I had another question recently on the video that I did a couple of days ago. And the video was about 3 phrases I use daily to help me get centered, to help me get clear, to help me get in the in the moment. And if you guys watched the video, the phrases was stay here, I don't need to know, and I'm open to this. And one of the questions I got in the comment section, and it was a really, really beautiful question, was about the phrase I'm open to this. Because the idea of the phrase of being open to things, and the example I used was, let's say you have a friend that has a different political opinion from you, and as they're talking, you start to feel what I call disturbances going on inside you. One of the things I said to say is just say, I'm open to this, meaning I'm open to the experience. Even though the person who's talking to me, my friend, who has a different political opinion than me, is causing disturbance within me, your job is to stay open to it. And the question this person had was, what if the person actually drains you? What if every time you talk to this person, you just feel drained, you feel tired? And she said that, like, what she decided to do with one of her friends was actually, I don't know if it was a friend or a family member, what she decided to do was just leave them, just get away from them. And just by her getting away from them, she protected her energy. So she had a sincere question about what should she do in that situation, or did she do the right thing about protecting her energy? And my answer was, and I answered it in the comment section, but sometimes, you know, when you say things in the comments, it gets misinterpreted. I told her about energy. Energy is not meant to be protected. Energy is meant to flow. Now, I know in the spiritual community, there's a lot of spiritual people out there. They do these rituals or things to protect your energy. And I understand what they're saying, but by you protecting your energy is actually keeping you small. It's keeping you from actually growing. What you're supposed to do is allow your energy to flow. So what I said to her, and hopefully I can explain it well here, is that if the person you're talking to is causing you to feel drained, it's because you have blockages within you that person is stimulating. And by allowing yourself to stay open to the process, staying open while that person's talking, and your body's getting tense and your jaw, and you feel like you want to scream at the person, or you feel like you want to get away from the person, what you have to learn how to do is just not close, stay open to it, stay present with it. Eckhart Tolle calls it the pain body. The pain body is coming up. This is your chance to actually heal or release trapped energy. Because the truth is, that person that she's talking to, the only reason why you feel drained is because you're resisting it. Anytime you resist something, of course you're going to feel drained. Because more than likely, you believe what he or she is saying is wrong. And the idea of wrong is, let's go back to the Bible again. I haven't read the Bible since 2021. I should probably read it again. But the story of Adam and Eve, the idea of them eating from the fruit that they ate from, the tree that they ate from was called the tree of good and evil. The way I interpret it, it's the tree of labels, as opposed to the tree of good and evil. The tree of labels, meaning once Adam and Eve ate that fruit, they started becoming judgmental. And not only did they start becoming judgmental, they started to become separate from everything around them. So the idea is they became separate from everything around them, they became judgmental, and they became more aware of their self. Now, the idea here is the awareness of self is more like a physical thing. The idea here is, if you remember the story, God came looking for Adam, and Adam was hiding. And the reason why Adam was hiding, when God asked him, "Why are you hiding?" is because Adam said, "I'm naked." And God said to Adam, "Who told you that you were naked?" Now, this is very metaphoric right here. The idea is Adam became aware of himself, his ego. He fell from the garden. He became separate from every other thing. So, the idea here is with the woman, going back to the woman, the reason why she feels drained is because on an unconscious level, she believes the person across from her is being negative or saying the wrong thing. And this resistance that it's causing within her is causing her to feel drained. However, what she should do, if she's open to it, and it's not easy. This is not easy. Remember the story with Jesus at the beginning where when he realized that he was about to be crucified and he was going to go through all the suffering to transcend to a higher level of consciousness. Even Jesus, in that split moment, wanted to bypass the process. He asked God, "Shall I pass? Can I pass it?" And then he immediately took it back. He says, "Not my will is thy," meaning God's will. "Not my will, thy will." And I might be messing that quote up. It's been a while since I read it. So for the woman, she has to realize, is the woman across from her or the man across from her actually being negative, or is she just being judgmental? And of course, yeah, maybe on a grand scheme of things, the person is actually being a little bit negative. Of course, it's very, very annoying. It's just like with the guy talking, the guy just said, "Be careful, somebody could steal your phone," because I am in a bit of a rowdy neighborhood. But the idea here is you got to learn to stay present with it, stay present with the pain. Because the only reason why this person is stimulating pain within you is because you have blockages inside. It's things that you resisted. So this woman, if she is open to it, because remember, your energy doesn't have to be protected. Your energy is meant to flow. Your energy does not have to be protected. The only thing that needs to be protected is the actual physical body. If she chooses to, if she could learn to just stay open to the pain that's being caused, that's her chance to actually get better, as opposed to trying to feel better by either trying to get away from the person or trying to fight with the person, trying to correct the person. So, to wrap things up, I want you to remember feeling better doesn't always mean getting better. When the pain comes up, when the emotional pain comes up, learn to stay open to it. Stay present with it. Remember the smoker analogy. We all know if a person doesn't smoke for 2 days, they're going to feel like crap. That doesn't mean they're not getting better. They're getting better. They're just not feeling good because they're purging. So it's the same thing with your emotions. You have to learn to let the energy come up so you can eventually transmute it, purge it out of your system. You need to be able to stay open to the pain. Remember all the metaphors I gave you guys, all the analogies, because this is actually how you get better. All right, so a lot of distractions, but hopefully you guys received a lot of value here. If you did, please leave feedback in the comment section. Until next time, peace.